G'day, I'm Nick Topham and this is the families tutorial for Product Tricks. So what we're going to cover today is the concept of families, scenarios and clients and how they all link to each other. What I'm going to start off with first is a bit of a discussion of existing Product Tricks users and what's happened with your scenarios and how to what you can do about that. I will mention first off the bat, if you don't want to deal with the concept of clients and families and you just want to keep creating single scenarios exactly how you've been doing, you can. There's absolutely nothing to stop you doing that. We will be moving forward, be favoring the concept of families and clients more because it does work with some of the kind of features we're developing. But if you don't care, you want to keep doing what you're doing, go for it. It's not a problem. But I would thoroughly recommend everyone start using this functionality because it will make things easier moving forward. So if you already have scenarios in Product Tricks, what we've essentially done is we've automatically created for you a client and a family for each scenario. So every single scenario you have will have a single client and a single family. They will have the same name as the scenario because we don't know what necessarily the client's name is, but we'll automatically create those entities for you. So what you might have in that case is something like this client here, which is called Bobbin, right? So you might have a scenario, you'll have a client, and you'll have a family. Now, the next question you'll probably have is, well, you know, what if I've got a husband and wife and you want to join them together into a single family? Because if you have existing scenarios, they will not be. They'll be separate families. So what you can use up the top here is this button here called Merge Families. So essentially what this will do, it will allow you to merge two families. So if we've got this family Bobbin and this family Frederai, we can in fact just join them together, and you'll see now both of those clients exist under this family. So if you've got a client and a partner who are separate, you can use that functionality to join them together. So that's, you don't have to do this. You can leave your scenarios in there. You can leave them as separate clients, but I would recommend thinking about joining them together at least as you go through the review process. Again, it will help things moving forward. So that's one way to deal with existing scenarios. The other thing I will note is, again, we don't know what the client names are, what the family names are. So if you've got scenario called John Smith Investment July 2023, that's what it will be called. You may want to change that. So that's what the clients and the families will also be called. So you can change those. Just click the Edit Client button over here or click the Rename Family button, and you can, of course, change them to suit your needs. I'll also note a couple of utility buttons here. Over here, if you do somehow link the wrong client to a wrong family, you can move them somewhere else. Just be aware, click that, follow the steps. It's pretty straightforward. Of course, you can delete clients, you can delete families, you can add new clients into a family. That's totally acceptable. And of course, you can do, existing functionality you could already do. Things like adding versions, adding statuses. So that's just some of the tools that I wanted to talk about with this new functionality. Now, what I'd like to address is syntax. What should families and clients and scenarios be called? Now, for this one, I'm going to use this example here, this Jimson family. Okay, so this is how I would recommend structuring it. Your family should be the surname. In this case, I've written family afterwards. I just think it makes it a little bit clearer. You could just leave it as Jimson. Okay. Clients, it should just be their first name. You don't need to include their surname in there. Where relevant, we've included a reference to the family name as well when you're searching and stuff to make that easier. So it should just be a first name. And the scenario, again, should be simple. You don't need to include the client name anymore. Call it for what it is. If you're reviewing Super in July of 2023, call it Super July 2023. If you're reviewing a pension, do the same. If it's just an annual review, write Annual Review July 2023. So this is essentially what the scenario is. Versions, on the other hand, are going to be a bit of a change for people. I personally think you should keep versions simply as 1, 2, 3, or A, B, C, something like that. So if you have, if you've got Super for July, it would be version 1. Okay. If you come in and do Super in December, it would be version 2, and so on and so forth. So essentially you have one version per review period, okay? Again, if you have matching versions for scenarios, so if you've got, you'll see here, I've got super and pension, they're both version 1. Just be aware, we will automatically combine those accounts in the back end for family fee linking purposes, just so you get the correct fees. Okay. So that's a bit of a summary about how that will, how you should be structuring these accounts. So that's how we deal with existing clients. Now, for new clients, it's pretty straightforward. Again, you don't have to do any of this if you don't want to. It's totally fine. But if you did want to create a new scenario, let's just say I'm going to create one called Investment 723, and this is going to be for Jim Jimson, right? So give him a risk profile. Here we go. You'll see there's a couple of options below. If this is a brand new client or a brand new family, obviously just leave these ticked. You want to create a new client, new family. If you want to link it to Jim Jimson, we can untick create new client and simply select him from the drop down, okay? So what that will do, when it creates this scenario, it will automatically link it to this client. Conversely, if it's a brand new client, you know, whatever they may be, if it's a new client to an existing family, perhaps Jim's wife, just be aware we can also link a scenario to a family, but not link it to a client. So again, perhaps you got doing a scenario for Jim's wife, Jane. You can link it to a family, but not to a client. So that's what those buttons do. Again, this is just for new scenarios. For existing scenarios, you can just move things around using those merge or move functions. So that's a bit of a summary about the concept of clients and families. Again, it's going to be the thing we're going to favor moving forward with a lot of our development, just because it's kind of necessary. You'll see, I mean, even in this this account, which is kind of my dummy account, you'll see that front page has a lot more structure than things previously did. There's a lot more information available and it's consistent. Again, that's a bit of a tutorial on the concept of families and clients. Yeah, if you've got any questions, of course, please feel free to contact support@producttrex.com.au. Thanks, see you later.